So I want to get to what you're doing there to help the guys. What's important to you?
Just in general, I definitely say making men. That's our motto in our organization is let us make man. I believe it's important for our boys, especially who don't have fathers in the home, who don't have any major male figures. And just in this day and age of 2022, where masculinity is being thrown out the window, I believe it's important for our boys to have that and to have a place where they can go to learn how to be a man and learn what it is to be a man in this day and age. They need to be surrounded by men. And in order to be a man, you got to see a man. And I think that's extremely important for our boys.
And what made you decide, what was happening that caused you to decide to, you know what, I'm going to do what I can to help? What brought it
Yep.
to your attention?
Yes, sir. Well, I'm 23 years old now, and I was 19 when I began the program. At that time, one of my classmates that I graduated with, his brother committed a murder here in our hometown, and he was told to hide the weapon. My classmate, that is, and he wasn't at the actual crime. And anyway, they came and raided the house and found the weapon, and he got sentenced to 30 years in prison for hiding the weapon, even though he wasn't at the location. And at that moment, I realized that we didn't have any juvenile rehabilitation programs, for juvenile offenders coming out of jail. And I was like, well, how do we expect our children to change? And they don't have any rehab or any type of programs to really combat that recidivism rate in our hometown. So I decided to start a program with the boys. I started taking them on field trips, teaching them how to change oil on cars, teaching them how to change brakes, doing sheetrock, whatever, anything you can name. We changed toilets, painting, laying bricks. I taught boys how to do all these things for the course of 2 to 3 years. Then I discovered boys that didn't know how to read, and they were in multiple different grades. About 20 to 30 boys couldn't read and write, and I was wondering who was passing them through school. And then that's when I got the idea to start our school life prep. And we've opened now, but back then it was just all an idea. But that's kind of where the motivation for our school and our after school program came from.
Are mostly boys, they don't have fathers around?
Yeah, over 90% of the boys that I work with are fatherless. Yes, sir.
Wow. And what are the age range that you allow in, the age range of the boys?
Our after school program, our boys ages 11 to 17, and our school right now is only sixth graders.
Oh, okay. And they don't have fathers around. How do you deal with their anger when they start to act out and get angry and that kind of stuff? How do you deal with that?
Well, with our school is boarding. So we board those students. So a lot of them, they just need to develop habits. And people don't understand that habits are, an extreme part of who you are. Habits build character, and character makes the man. And that's something I believe wholeheartedly. So we have to instill different habits in them, like, waking up in the morning at a certain time of day, making sure they're eating at a certain time, making sure they're exercising, making sure they're, doing their activities or whatever. And most of them are only angry because of the environments they're in. Over 90% of their issues are just their environment. If we remove them from an environment where they have to be angry, they never get angry anymore. And whenever they do decide to get mad, we teach them how to channel that and, produce something, with it versus producing, something negative, produce something positive with that, and just teach them how to keep their bearing. One of our, biggest slogans is keep your bearing. And I think that's something for our boys to always have, even men in general. Most of our issues that we get into is because we won't keep our bearing. We have to, keep, our bearing, because we have to realize where we at, situational awareness, etc. And should I get angry right now? Should I get mad? How is this going to affect my home? How is this going to affect my family, etc.? So this is why I teach them about keeping their bearing, and putting them in situations where they have to keep their bearing. So that way, when they get into life, they'll have these habits that we already built with them, and having these different values that we already have in them. But most of them, they don't really get too much angry around us, because we just, shower them with different things to do. And other men around them, they're quick to get angry with their moms, but they're not going to get angry with other men around. They're willing to listen. And I think that's important also, and just teaching them how to respect their parents, etc. So we don't really deal with too much anger issues, actually. We just are who we are, and we're men. And our staff, we make sure that they are taken care of, and they have everything they need, and they respect us. So that's kind of how we deal with that.
Do they ever talk about their situations at home, how difficult it is with their mothers, and do they ever bring up their fathers? They want to see their fathers or talk about not having fathers?
Well, I mean, not for the most part, not really. They will talk about their issues at home that they
Yeah.
do deal with. You know, I've had some of them being starved before, dealing with molestation or what have you. They deal with different things at home, or peer pressure from the kids in the neighborhood, moms who work too much, or having to be forced to be the parent. You know, a lot of them forced to be the father of the home, or the man of the house. You know, at a young age. You know, because their parents treat them that way, especially their moms. You know, I say moms create sons-bins all the time. You know, and since your husband not there, you make your son the man of the house and make him the husband. You know,
Yeah.
but not sexually. You know,
Yeah.
so they have so many sons-bins nowadays, and these boys are having to grow up, you know, ahead of their time. But a lot of them, they don't really talk too much about what's going on at home unless they are, you know, dealing with something at home.
Right.
You know, most of them kind of live like normal lives with their moms. But you know, I'm just grateful to the parents, you know, whom send their children to our program and to our school, because that means that they are wanting something different for their child, and they know that they can't best do it by themselves. They need a village to help do so.
Do they have to? Do the parents have to pay for the school, or do you fundraise for that?
We fundraise for it. Our boarding school and after school program is completely free. We don't receive any government funding, no grants, anything. We just simply raise money, and we're able to take care of the program that way. That's how we're able to do it. So we're just grateful for the people that are able to help us fundraise. It gets a little tough sometimes. Sometimes we do okay. But for the most part, you know, we're able to take care of our students, get their uniforms, get their haircuts, feed them three meals a day, pay the light bill, pay the mortgage, and make it happen, you know, for our students, with people just simply giving to our program. We don't want to have any government funding, because then we have to scratch where we don't itch, and we have to dance to music we don't like. So we want to make sure that we take care of our program and do what we want to do
Yeah.
with our boys.
And do they have to do work around there to show the appreciation, since they're getting everything free? Do they have to earn it in some kind of way on campus there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have plenty of work for them to do. They cut their grass, they clean up the school. Our requirements are, you know, all A, so we make sure that they're, you know, getting their studies at school. But they do different things, such as you know, they do firearms training, and we, you know, take them different places, and you know, we allow them to be kids also.
Right.
You know, while they're here, even though we're instilling, you know, a lot of values in them, we still allow them to be boys and let them fight and all that stuff like that. They're boys. That's what they do, especially when they're bored and they're becoming brothers.
Yeah.
So, you know, we deal with their little normal 11, 12-year-old issues, and, you know, we keep it moving. But for the most part, yeah, they do have things they have to do to, you know, show appreciation, and their parents do a lot, you know, for the program, you know, buying water and things like that. So, you know, we
Nice.
just have a big collective, like, family now, I would say, for our school.
How long is the program? When do they? How long is the program before they graduate?
So the children that are in the actual school, they're starting in sixth grade this year. Next year, this group will move to seventh grade. Once they move to seventh grade, we'll take in new sixth graders. So they have to start in sixth grade with us.
Oh,
And then
okay.
that following year, they'll go to eighth grade, and we'll take those sixth graders, move them to seventh grade, and we'll take in new sixth graders all the way up until they go to high school. And that's how we'll fill up the school as the years go by. We just want to
Oh,
make sure that, you know, completely have, you know, our values, because I could take 11th and 12th graders, 10th graders, but some of their minds are so far gone already. It's easier to get those younger children who are sponges, who are still trying to figure themselves out, who are still trying to figure out who they are. We want to make sure we're taking their brain that's like a sponge already, and injecting it with everything they need to know about, you know, being a man, and being positive, giving back to your community, being a team leader, you know, and just making sure they're working with each other. That's big for us, but they have to start in sixth grade with us. Now, the after school program is open to all boys at ages 11, 17 until they graduate high school.
oh, okay. And are you one of the teachers there? You teach?
No, I actually don't teach. I'm just the chief instructor. I only teach the automotive repair, construction. I have guys come in and teach welding. I have firearms instructors for firearms. I have martial arts teachers for martial arts. I have swimming instructors for swimming.
Oh,
I
nice.
have other teachers. Yeah, I have teachers for teaching, because that's not my strong suit. However, I do, you know, drill language arts and reading and spelling with them, because I am really good at that. So I make sure they are on their reading, their writing, and their spelling. That's extremely important. Literacy is important to me. So we do our book club during the week, you know, with the boys, teaching them how to read, teaching them different vocabulary words, making them use these vocabulary words. You know, I was just making sure we're expanding their knowledge and things like that. But no, I have a full staff. I'm not even a headmaster. Our headmistress, you know, she's graduated from University of Georgia, and she has a master's in education from there. So she's our headmistress, and we have other female staff also, as well as male staff, because they do need a balance. So we want to surround them with the type of women we think they should marry, and we want to surround them with the type of men that we feel like they should want to be. So that's something that's important to us.
What is a headmistress?
The headmistress is like the principal of the school. So she's like the principal for a private school. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see. Why didn't you get a man to be the principal?
Well, I think she's extremely qualified for the job that she's doing. However, I'm the chief instructor, so you could say like I'm the assistant principal per se or whatever. But of course, I'm still the founder and owner, so I still call all the shots for the most part. She still, does her job. I still listen to her because it's important. She does cover a lot of bases that I may forget. She does things that I don't think about, and she has a lot of knowledge from being on that college campus for 4 years and working with ESPN, etc. She's worked with Daktronics and football, baseball, basketball. So she has a lot of sport knowledge too that transfers into how a school is ran. So she's had a lot of back knowledge, just being at the University of Georgia for so long and working, in the background for a lot of different activities there, a lot of different clubs there. She's done a lot at University of Georgia. So that's why she's the headmistress of the school. And I just want to make sure they have a balance there too.
And the reason I ask because I've noticed that women, it's not in the nature of women to lead. They were created to follow. And when I was growing up down in Alabama, the principal was always men. We didn't have a vice principal. We just had a principal. And it was always a man and not a woman. And because it was known that women didn't have the patience or it's not in them to lead. Have you noticed that?
I will say with her, she's worked with children, like she's worked with Girls Inc. She's worked with a lot of, Girl Scouts, etc. So she's been working with children for forever. She's about 29 years old now, but she's been working with children forever. So her working with the children is easy. So I just kind of look for if they've already been working with children before, for any females that are on staff, any women that are on staff. I make sure that they have already been working with children because I know that they don't have a lot of patience like we do. Yeah. They're kind of more short-sighted versus far-sighted.
And emotional. They're very emotional too.
Well, that's true. But I absolutely need that in the program, because they do need to have somebody there to nurture them sometime. Like some of the boys, I do have female staff that, talk to them in the evenings. And sometimes they're able to pull things out of the boys that I'm not. Sometimes they'll talk to them about certain things that they won't talk to me about, they'll come back and report to me, what's happened or what did he say or what was going on with him, because they're able to be a little bit more nurturing with them and talk to them. They're doing their job being nurturers, and us being the providers and protectors. That's what we do. So it's literally like a family here. I just make sure they have, women around that they're able to be around and have somebody to nurture them. And we're also the disciplinarians, that's where we come in and come with our deep voice and telling you what to do and stuff like that. So I just make sure it's a balance there.
And so by the time they reach sixth grade, how old is the sixth grade?
11 years old, 11. 12.
By the time they reach sixth grade, haven't they had too much mama nurturing already? That's what made them weak.
Well, you definitely notice a lot of it, but a lot of 11-year-olds are very impressionable. A lot of them have made significant changes just in the 3 months that we've been open because they're surrounded by men. Even many of the boys whom were overweight, they've lost so much weight now. If you look at some of the pictures from when they first started school versus where they are now, it's only been 3 months and they've lost significant amounts of weight, and they're standing up straight. They're projecting their voices. They're giving the proper greeting of the day. These are all these things that we're just instilling on them. They're just habits. We're just building habits with them that they're giving. And so when they're going back home and their moms are sending these messages about how much they've changed and how much they're listening now and not talking back, etc. And sometimes I tell the moms, being honest with them, I said, well, mama, if you look at how he's acting just like you. He's doing the same mannerism that you're doing. And they're just like, wow, I didn't even notice that. I'm like, yeah, he's doing the exact same things that you're doing. But I'm grateful to them again for just even wanting different for their sons to be able to come to a school like ours.
That's what I've found out realized is that a lot of mothers don't realize that they have recreated their sons and daughters in their image by being impatient with them, making them angry, imposing on them like that. And when the kids act like them, they don't see that, wow, this child is acting like me. Because if they saw it, then they could cut it out, stop doing that, and the kids would get better sooner rather than later.
Right. Absolutely. That is 100%. Yes, sir.
You have gotten a lot of attention from media and politicians and things. Are you surprised by that?
No, not at all. Of course, it's sometimes people, question our program because it does seem too good to be true sometimes.
Right.
But we're actually active and we're actually here, and our students are walking around right now as I speak. People have looked at our program, and it's not being done a whole lot of places. So at first it was kind of overwhelming at first because, when things go viral and it just kind of hits you all at one time.
Right.
But no, I wasn't necessarily surprised by the attention because I knew one day somebody was going to see what we were doing because it was different and people were going to love what we were doing. So yeah, people have reached out, celebrities included, politicians or whatever, have all reached out in support of the program.
Are they helping you financially as well?
Yeah, a few of them are. A few of them are just helping by sharing it. A lot of them, have huge amounts of following.
Right.
So some of them just sharing is them helping, our cause, even if they don't donate financially. Everybody that shares, everybody that hits the like button, everybody that shoots a comment, even if they're able to give $1 or 50 cents, everybody's helping in their own way, regardless if they're able to give financially or not. So I'm just appreciative of all of our, supporters, just in general.